So the new Madoka anime has arrived. It's going to be 26 episodes, and I have to say, as a huge Shaft fan, as a huge Madoka fan, this was everything to me. Like, obviously, this probably won't be as exciting for maybe newcomers to the franchise. Like, I'm sure there's going to be plenty of people who jump aboard this, they see new anime, magical girls, let's watch it. But obviously, like, this is made for people who either have played the game or have watched the original anime. And I have to say, this so far is living up to the same feeling I had when first watching the original anime. I mean, from the visuals, the almost arts and crafts backgrounds when they're in the witch world that they're fighting, the whole idea of like shifting perspectives and colors and just really making everything feel isolated in the general mundane backgrounds. Shaft is always amazing with its background detail. In fact, they are my favorite studio specifically for background work. I mean, for a long time, I would consider them to be my favorite studio of all time, just they haven't put out as much content as other studios, so they've fallen down a little bit, but still, Shaft is some of the best teams and just, you know, they make some of the best things. I love them so much. And the fact that this new project immediately made me feel like I was returning right back to the original anime. It didn't feel like it was at a place, it had its own unique ideas. This was incredible, I have to say. And this was pretty much just setting it up, you know, getting introduced to, like, Tamaki, some of the characters, and the whole idea of where seemingly the narrative wants to go with potentially a way to save magical girls. And I don't totally know where the story wants to go, and that's exciting to me. Like, honestly, the idea of magical girls and Kyubey and just everything that this story wants to tell, like, there is always so many possibilities, dimensions, and just routes and characters that you can tell characters with, and this is actually one of the least milked franchises in recent memory for the success and popularity that Madoka has. Yes, there's been movies and recaps, but, you know, I would have expected for as much of a hit as this anime was, like 10 series by now, or not, maybe not quite 10, but, you know, a good 5 or so. So the fact that you got this mobile game adaptation, which, you know, originally I was hearing mixed things about when it first got announced, but, you know, once the production details started to get rolling, we're seeing PVs, I was seeing a lot of anticipation. And as a die-hard, you know, Shaft junkie and Madoka fan, this was incredible. I absolutely love the new characters that we got introduced to. I mean, it's pretty hard to mess up characters in this anime. The whole idea of just naive girls who got roped in by this little devil who just lacks emotion but is just pure logic about how to harvest the most energy, you know, it's always a recipe for success. It doesn't matter how minuscule the wish was, like wanting to get a boyfriend or wanting to cure a disease and illness, which then always will lead to something horrible, whether that be a breakup, which you gotta count yourself lucky if that's all that horribly happened to you, or like our main character seemingly losing a family member or friend after that wish was granted. Like, it is incredible to see how familiar this feels while also feeling like a fresh and unique idea for this wonderful universe. Like, immediately the whole idea of like, hey, having like these dreams, like what if there's this place that you can go to, this one city where maybe magical girls can be safe? Like, that's an intriguing hook and, you know, plot line that you can follow for this anime, while also getting us, you know, a little concerned already. Like, what's going on? Like, why can you have a wish, but then not remember what the wish was? Kyubey being Kyubey is gonna walk around it, be like, maybe that's just part of the wish. It's like, it's just amazing how familiar, ominous, and just fresh this first episode felt. And I would honestly say the star of the show is once again the music. I mean, Shaft music is always great, but like, once you, like, immediately start this episode, you hear that familiar track, you're getting excited, you're getting, it's almost like goosebumps, chills, and just horror all wrapped up into one. But there was just so many times the music took the steering wheel and just drove this episode right to the finish line without any bumps along the way. It's incredible, it really is, and I love how excited I am for this. And this was really just an intro, a prologue, just kind of getting you on board with the basic idea of the story and a couple of characters and just where their lives are going, you know, the idea of a lonely, isolated girl, families going across overseas, doesn't have really any friends, trains at night, and then, you know, fights witches. It's a lot of the things you kind of come to expect with magical girls and, like, not trampling on other people's territory or you'll probably get killed. Like, it's pretty much what you come to expect with this franchise, but there's something so a long-lost friend. You've had this best friend for so many years and you haven't seen them for a while, and they come back, but they're also a new person all in the process of being that same old classic friend you once had. That's like the best way to put this side story. I love it, absolutely. And I'm sure there could be some people who will walk in out of this episode, be like, yeah, it's Madoka, I like it, but why are you so excited, Brandon? And truthfully, it's because it feels the same way that I felt when I was first watching Madoka. Obviously, I didn't know exactly where episode 3 was going to go with that, but I basically from episode 1 felt like something weird was going to happen, something bad was going to happen. It just felt way too ominous to just be happy magical girls. However, with this, knowing the context of this universe and what it ultimately leads up to, really focusing in on knowing what Kyubey is and what magical girls are, just the witches and things like that, focusing in on some beautiful imagery with its background work and just, the shot composition, it is so goddamn gorgeous. And the music just immediately gave me that sense of nostalgia as if, yes, this is the anime I remember. You're watching the arts and crafts worlds take place. It feels so familiar. And then you just look at the story that they're going to tell about saving magical girls and you know that's going to bite them in the ass. I love how Madoka can have like the most basic intro episode in terms of like giving you like what the story is going to be. Go to this city. Oh, you can't go to this city, but clearly the dreams are happening. There's got to be a reason for that. That's pretty much the hook of this episode, but you get so captured by its visuals, its production across the board, and every time a character speaks, I'm just like, you know what, I just met you, but I already love your character. You're probably gonna die a brutal death, but hey, that's Madoka for you. I love this franchise. It's been one of my favorite anime for a long, long time. Ever since I first watched it, I've rewatched it countless times, and more often than not, it raises in terms of enjoyment and how highly I worship it the more anime I watch, because it's a genius concept, and so many anime try to rip off what Madoka did, and Madoka wasn't like the first to like do darker magical girls, but with that Shaft presentation, there's something so unique about it, especially how they really dive into just the cost of a wish and just the idea of an emotionless husk of a beast that just is all about logic and no emotion. It's just ingenious, and so far with what I saw with this first episode, knowing it's going to be a 2-core, I mean, I am excited for sure. Like, this is going to be the year of Madoka for sure, and I hope it continues on this path, the production remains tight, and I hope the characters continue to impress me, and I guess the most important thing is they live up to the story hook of this city, because that's kind of intriguing for as basic of an intro that we got for that idea of this city and just the idea of infiltrating their dreams. It's a great episode. It's definitely my favorite new anime that I watched this season, but that's no real surprise because I love Madoka. And I mean, if it carries on with this type of quality, it's going to be one of my favorite, if not maybe even my favorite anime of the season. Who knows? I just know I loved it and I can't wait to see more. And like I mentioned, like the whole idea of nostalgia, like I am glad they're not solely relying on, hey, we know you like Madoka, we're just going to do the same thing. Like, clearly, a lot of the character designs, a lot of the initial personalities, you can maybe even compare to the original cast, and I know the original cast is going to be popping up in this story as well. So I like how they give you pretty much, it almost feels like a reverse, like if you were to look at the other side of a coin of Madoka. Like, one side, heads is the original, tails is this new series. There is obviously a lot of familiarity and just, similar elements to that original, while also feeling like it's clearly doing its own story, its own world, its own little universe pocket in the idea of the Madoka realm, and that's what I think this series needs to do. Like, they could honestly make 10 stories surrounding the concept of this anime, and as long as they don't just reuse and rehash the same things over and over again, I don't see why it would fail. Like, maybe, yes, certain stories in anime wouldn't be as amazing as the original, or maybe even this one, but like, there's a lot of ideas and ways to take it as long as they don't like pump it out every year or something, right? There's something interesting about this universe that you can look across anime as a whole and say, okay, there's other darker series that take the magical girl realm that came before it and things like that, but the whole idea of Shaft and how visuals tell their story, like, obviously they have their scripts, right? Those scripts are usually pretty damn good, or at the very least so crazy you just enjoy them. So you have these visuals that just perfectly embrace and capture the story that any Madoka project is going to tell. You got the music that just immediately tells you how to feel. When you hear some of those iconic pieces, like, you're immediately going to understand what you are supposed to feel. Like, that's how great it is. So, like, the production does so much of the work, even if the script is lackluster or just is average, it almost feels even more amazing because the other elements just kind of build onto that story at hand. If I take a look, I know I'm bringing up the original a lot, but I think it's kind of hard, especially when we're first talking about the intro of this anime. You take a look at the original anime, and like, I thought the script across the board was fantastic, but had the script in that anime just been okay, I still think it would have been a fantastic anime in itself because the production really helped to tell the story that it was aiming for. So I think depending on how they take this, depending on how large the cast does get, which it almost feels like we're going to get an entire new cast while also seeing the old cast in some way. So the fact that they are going to go a 2-core route, I think is important, because had this been a single core, you know, I could definitely see pacing issues. And I know the one thing people are going to bring up is they're not going to be worried about pacing because it is going to be running for 26 episodes, but they probably are going to worry about the production. And yeah, you can even look at the original Madoka. You know, it wasn't until the Blu-ray and DVD release that a lot of the TV production was, you know, cleaned up and actually looked beautiful. A lot of the original shots, they weren't that pretty to look at. So even if that does happen, you know it's going to be touched up. This is one of those anime that will sell like hotcakes. They're going to touch it up beautifully. Obviously, I hope it's not crash and burn the second core, but still, I think I truly 100% fully believe in this production. And I was pretty damn sure I was going to be like 90% on board with this anime, but there's just something so familiar but unique about what it's trying to tell here that I truly believe in this production, and unless it crashes and burns with a horrible script, and it would have to be truly horrible for the production not to be able to keep this series afloat, I think I'm gonna love this anime for sure. But what did everyone think? Either for fans of the source material, which I believe is a mobile game, or anime originals like myself, let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. And if you enjoyed the video, be sure to drop a like, and remember to hit that subscribe button if you happen new around here. So until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.